Record. Okay. Hello, everyone. I am so happy. So I'm Dara Tomasson, of course, the weight loss coach for quilters. And I'm really excited to have this webinar with Lisa Bongean. And I think it's perfect that the topic that I had chosen before I asked Lisa to do this was why diets don't work. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and a little about her history. And then we have a bunch of questions that you have already asked and that I kind of want to talk to her about. So we're just going to get started because we all want to know. So first of all, thank you again. So Lisa's in Atlanta right now. So thanks for coming to us from your hotel room.
Yeah, not a problem. I'm actually just happy to be in a hotel room.
I know, right?
I know.
Exciting. How was the airplane?
Well, I think there's never a better, safer time to fly than right now. Everybody gets treated the same. They actually got smart and load the plane from the back seats first, which it should be like that all the time, right? Yeah. And then everybody's given the same little goodie bag. You get a wipe when you get in. You wipe off all your stuff. It's really, I felt really good. I'm not a problem.
Awesome. Okay. So we all want to hear about your story. Okay. And so what was your relationship with food and diets in the past?
I had a very love-hate relationship with food and diets. And I had to kind of laugh at Dara's topic that was like why diets don't work. See, I kind of disagree. I think diets do work. The problem is not for long.
Right. Because the definition of diet is like a short-term eating plan to get gain, right?
Right. Because I would do really good on diets. I could lose 50 pounds in, 4 months, but then I'd spend, 2-3 months putting it all back on the minute I thought I was where I needed to be. So with Dara, luckily this time it came off slow. It was like a whole different change of how I looked at food, how I thought about food, how I thought about myself, how I celebrated all the things, just a whole, not just the diet and the food. It was more about the whole big picture of everything involved in me as a person and how I saw myself, how I wanted to see myself, and just being like really honest with yourself and feeling all the emotions instead of, stuffing the donut down or whatever that looked like. So
yeah, totally. So, okay, I guess that brings my next question is like, what were your thoughts when you heard me starting to talk? And like you kind of heard me talk about business and weight, but like when you thought like, this is another weight loss, another person, another approach, like,
and that's, I think the reason why I just didn't sign up for another session of Jenny Craig or something weird like that was that I wanted a coach. I wanted the one-on-one. I wanted her to personally know me and understand me. And her being a quilter really, really helped that. Mm-hmm. So that to me was a bonus. And then the fact that, she just she was, obviously she's a business person. So I was intrigued by that. Just much more than just a weight loss coach. So it came with a whole lot of extra perks that I didn't count on, but yet with having a life coach instead of a weight loss counselor, it was more of what I needed in my life.
Yeah. So the question, like, why did you decide to hire me? I mean, you kind of talked about it, but what was the reason why?
What was the reason why?
Overall.
Overall, one, I like supporting women. All right. I like helping be a part of, I mean, if I had to I think it just happened at the right moment at the right time. We were in this group of designers and business people, and she came up and I thought, here's my sign. Okay. I wanted to hire a life coach. I just never did it because I didn't know how to find the right one. So it was one, I think, I really truly believe in higher powers or things happen for a reason type thing. So if you want me to nail down a specific reason why I said yes, I don't really know, but it just worked. Okay. It was just right. It was just, okay, here's your opportunity, take it. And that's what I did because I really didn't know you. I mean, I did not know you.
And the sad thing is we'd been at quilt markets together and like 3 of them, and I actually never met you.
Right. And it's not like we have this thing where, oh, okay, we're gonna do this. We had no plan. We didn't know each other. So
No clue.
right. And I mean, I'm not like afraid like she's gonna know all my business, because like one of the first times that I met with her, I like told her like something you would never tell my best friend. So so I felt really comfortable. She made me feel really good right away. It was awesome. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're on the fence or whatever, I mean, you got to do what's right for you. But
Yeah,
like I said, I think all things happen for a reason.
totally. All right. So what are some of your main takeaways from us working together?
The main takeaways are, let's see. You should have told me. You should have told me this before. I could have written them down.
That's
No.
okay. You're so on the spot.
Yeah, right. I know it's
You're so good at that.
instant, right? But the main takeaways. So probably the biggest one, or there's many big ones, but just I think one of the things I didn't do is like celebrate my small victories along the way, and not just look at that end goal. And so she taught me how to be like, oh, Lisa, you are really awesome, look what you've done this week, or look what you accomplished, or you have a book published. Or like, I would never celebrate anything in my life. I would just trudge on to the next thing. And once you learn to appreciate and understand that you're doing some awesome things, whether that might look different for you. I mean, that might be like, oh my gosh, I got my garden planted, or something that maybe you didn't do for a long time, or maybe, whatever those little wins are for you, or big wins, you have to celebrate them. So that was one of the things I learned, because I never did that before. And so just as far as like, life is 50% good and 50% crappy. Like, that bad things happen to you. So instead of thinking that, my life sucks because I have all these bad things happen, you need to know and understand that everybody has that life is crappy sometimes. And you have to learn to process those emotions and feel the sadness, and then move on.
Right.
So you don't just go bury yourself in the chocolate ice cream. Instead, you feel sad, you feel mad, you go through all those emotions instead of burying them and then torturing yourself because you just gained 5 pounds because you ate the whole half gallon of ice cream.
Right.
So
right.
that was a big thing for me. Now let me think, what else.
I think one of the big ones we had was like always going to your future self.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Remember, like we really worked on like transitions, like the past, the current, like, and then what do you have to do, and what kind of person do you become as you go towards your future self?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's hard too, I think, but you don't even sometimes think about that, as far as like, like I would never have been able to do what I'm doing right now, or to go and do those YouTube videos. But Dara was like, okay, now just think about, how you're going to feel when you're there, and like how much easier it's going to be. And, just it, I don't know. It's just, she explains it really good.
Yeah. I'm very eloquent.
And even though I'm not like the model, like I always tease her about her and her model, and she always brings it up. I'm like, you have to bring that up, don't you? You have to like follow the rule. She's always got to put her rules on me, but she just makes it work and shows me how it works. And like, one of the other things that I really loved about her, she says to me, I can't solve any problem you have.
Right.
None. There's not one I can't do. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I would test her with those sometimes too. Right. So that was really helpful.
But what I said was, there's not one problem I can't solve.
Right. Yeah.
And so Lisa she was like me when I first was a life coach. The life coach said that to me, and I was like, just you wait. And I spent all week trying to come up with a problem that she couldn't solve. And she solved it every week. And I was like, oh, yeah, it works. The model works. The tools work.
Well, and like, she didn't solve it. She showed me how to solve it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I showed you the tools so that you could solve it yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Because how do you, because you mentioned about your this limiting beliefs. So you were talking about like, I couldn't do this thing, I couldn't do that thing. Talk more about, you had these limiting beliefs and now you've overcome them. How were you able to do that?
How am I? Oh, okay. So yeah, you have to ask me all the hard
Uh-huh.
questions, Sarah.
Totally. Well, I got to get my money's worth, right?
Oh, I'm getting paid? No, she's not. Okay. So how the limited belief? Well, like I think what she's talking about there is that, like I had a goal set in mind. Like I know, like I had a goal number weight that I wanted to weigh, and I'm there right now. But Dara made me see that I could push past that and go a little further. And she taught me how to believe that I can get there, and I know in my heart I'm going to get there, but she pushes you to be even better than what you think you can be. So I don't know if I'm answering your question, Dara,
Yeah.
but
Okay. So I'll give you an example of this
yes.
because I am kind of putting you on the spot. So it was interesting. So I said to Lisa, I'm like, okay, we're going to go for this crazy number.
Yeah. And it
And
is crazy. Like my high school number.
yeah, and we're doing it. Like it's totally happening, right?
Yeah.
So the one of your limiting beliefs was, oh, the more like when you're getting closer to your goal weight,
Oh
it's
yeah.
harder to lose the weight. And I'm actually I'm like, no, your
Yeah.
body has now learned how to go to the fridge. Like you can always, now you're accessing your fat, right? You're going to the freezer. Right. So for all of you in my Love Yourself Thin program, remember, weight loss science is simple. Yeah. And so I'm helping her see, and this is what I do for all of you guys, I'm cleaning out your brains, is like, actually, we think that this is the way it is, but actually it's not.
Right. No.
See it, in a way that now, because you can look at it, it's like Lisa and I are sitting on a couch and we're looking at all the thoughts that don't serve her, and I'm like, well, is that even true? And you're like, oh, I think I read it somewhere. Or we have these, because a belief is just a thought that you've thought enough times that you're like, oh, I believe that.
Right. And I also believe, like, the closer I get, the more I have to rely on exercise instead of food, which it's almost the opposite for me. It's like like I have to stop exercising because I actually do better just controlling the food than the exercise.
Because if we think that the exercise is the one that's going to give us the result, then we don't take responsibility for the result.
Right. No. And it like I do so much better if I don't exercise.
Yeah. Well, it's our thoughts. Well, the thing is, it's good to exercise. I mean, we're not saying not to exercise, but if we give the responsibility to the exercise for getting our results, then we're not going to have the success because we don't take responsibility for ourselves.
Right. I know. And I really love to exercise. So it's not like I think it's a chore. No, I really love it. So, it was hard for me not to rely on that and not to, give it all the power.
Right. Right. Because how do we get our results, everyone? They all start our thoughts. Right. Our thoughts always get us to our results. Okay. So thank you so much for sharing those. You did a great job. A+. So what was the biggest surprise outcome of the work we're doing together?
Well, I don't want to say that it actually happened, because I knew it was going to happen, but just that it was kind of easy. It wasn't hard. It wasn't like a struggle. Like I didn't feel deprived. I got to enjoy the thing, because I love to eat. My mom's a cook. I grew up loving and appreciating food, and I'm even a snob. I like this home baked goods. That's what I love. I was able to still plan those and enjoy those and still lose the weight. So it's not like I'm ever going to give them up, because I told Dara right away, if I have to give up and not lead a normal life, it's not going to work. No. It's not going to work. So you need to teach me how to do this and live a life. So, because to me, eliminating, 2 or 3 food groups out of your life is not living.
No, and that's the other part, is sustainability, right?
Right, exactly.
So, because we have been working together since the end of March.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, pretty much COVID happened, and it was like everything got like canceled.
Yeah.
And it was such a bummer because Lisa was supposed to be doing, you were going to come to Vancouver and then you were going to take what's it called again? A big boat. We don't even know those anymore. A cruise. And I was going to like go and hang out with Lisa in Vancouver. And yeah. So that was really fun too, helping you pivot your business and getting it online and having the confidence to being on the screen. Like all of that was super fun.
Yeah.
So like I always say, weight loss is secondary. It's like we got to work on all of this stuff. And then the outcome is the weight loss. So I'm just going to come over here to the chat for a second. Okay. So let's just ask, there's some things here. How long has it taken for Lisa to get there?
So I actually started a little before Dara. I started at the beginning of the year at 185.
Yeah.
And now I'm 150. So, 35 pounds, a whole year for 35 pounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And but like, what's the difference between this 35 pounds and the other weight that you've lost in the past?
Well, I just feel more knowledgeable about it. I feel I'm not afraid I'm going to put it back on. Mm-hmm. I feel it's all about my mind and how I think about food, not just looking at the food and knowing like I can't have bread and I can't have sugar. It's knowing now that I can't have whatever I want when I want it. It's just planning and knowing and just learning about myself and how to process my thoughts and knowing the outcome ahead of time, because that's part of it, is we can predict our thoughts and our feelings once we understand how it all works.
So tell me a little bit about, this would be fun for a lot of ladies because there's a real struggle with the scale. So how did your relationship with the scale shift over time?
How did it change? Let's see. So at first I think I was on every day, but then after a while you kind of forget about it. And then like sometimes it's a very, when you think you're going to lose the weight, you don't. And when you think you've been really good, or not really good, but you think you're doing a really good job at everything, you get on the scale and it doesn't move. But then a couple days later, like 3 pounds will go. So it's not like this type of movement. The scale goes like this. Mm-hmm. And but it does trend down, but there's a lot of this going on in there. So you can't really like measure your success by that scale every day when you get on it, because it's like surprises you. Yeah. So, like water, I think is a very key. If I can give you one advice, like I find if I drink the water, it does go down. If I don't drink the water, it messes with you a lot. So that was probably my main thing, is that sometimes it didn't matter what I ate, it mattered how much I drank. Mm-hmm. So, but it's just, you can't just base it on 1 or 2 days of the scale. You have to look, you have to be in long term, and you have to understand, you have to be committed to the whole thing. And like, what do you got to lose, really? Because not the short term high you're going to get from eating the dark chocolate at midnight because you stayed up and stitched and finished your project.
Oh, never, Lisa. Dark chocolate
really isn't, you learn to like not bother you, let it not, call your name or whatever.
Right. I love it. Oh my gosh.
So it's not like this. It's very much an up and down little descent.
Right. So like when you weigh yourself 3 days in a row and nothing happens, you don't give up. You're just like, my body just is holding on to some weight right for now.
Yeah. You don't get all crabby and upset about it. You just, because you remember, you can control your feeling about the scale. Like Dara just said, okay, I guess it's not going to happen this time, but it's going to happen. And it's kind of like thinking positive and getting positive results. So that's like you almost will it to happen. Instead of always dwelling on the negative that we're used to doing, you just dwell on the positive.
Right. So because even when you dwell on the negative, what's going to start happening is you're going to start sabotaging yourself, and you're going to turn to exterior things like chocolate or shopping to feel better.
Yes.
Instead of going
Shopping.
deep inside. I mean, we love shopping, and we always love to, support Lisa and her business.
Yes. Beware, ladies.
That's
You're
right.
shopping at the end.
Yeah. So, but like you can go to yourself to say like, hey, have I been doing a good job? Have I been like honoring my protocol? Have I been doing this? And then you don't have to have the scale to tell you you're good enough. You can tell
No.
yourself.
Because I think a lot of times, like I'll be like, Dara, I got up today, I was feeling really, really thin. I know I lost a couple pounds, and you get on it and it didn't do it. And then there'll be some days like, oh, I know I'm gonna gain today. I know I'm gonna gain today. So you get on the scale and you lost 2 pounds. It's like,
I
what?
know. I know.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. All right. So your tips are like, don't give up on yourself. Remember that it's a downturn. It's like the opposite of the stock market.
Yes.
Drinking your water. Don't letting the scale sabotage you. Always remember about your thoughts. Process your emotions. These are all the tips that I'm like bringing out from what Lisa's saying.
Yeah.
Talk to Dara. Don't be afraid.
Tell her all the things. Tell her your deep, dark secrets. Yeah.
It's so good because and in reality is shame and embarrassment and all those negative emotions. So I always do the beach ball analogy. If you try to keep pushing that beach ball under the ground, you're just making it, avoid and resist makes it so much worse. So if you can just like accept it and just be like, oh, there's some shame. Oh, there's some embarrassment. It's like, then we're good. So even at the beginning of this webinar where I had it all planned and organized and it didn't work out, I'm like, okay, I felt this like wave of like heat, and I'm like, I can solve a problem. Like Ashley, I always say to you guys, I can do hard things. It's like, we can just go to plan B. It's all good. And then I had the thought, oh, but people might go to the webinar later and they won't be there. And I thought, it's okay. I will play the replay. It'll be fine. Right. Like, so I had to do like 6 different models going through my mind and I'm like, it's all good because I can feel emotions like that. I can feel shame. I can feel embarrassment, all of that. And that's what I teach you guys all to do. Okay. So one of the questions they wanted you to answer is, did you get a whole new wardrobe? And I just started laughing at this question because I'm like, that's a good question for Lisa.
Yeah. So I have to admit that I like really nice clothes. I mean, not like, like I my favorite shop is like Duluth Trading, right? So, but I do spend, I buy them on sale, but I find all these deals, but I do spend like, between like $60 and $80 for a dress. And I spend, like I really love these pair of $100 like fleece lined winter pants that I have, but I literally had to replace all of it. So it made me mad that I had to go buy the same thing that I just got last year and wore probably 4 times. And now I have to buy 3 size smaller. So it was really making me mad. And I'm like, Dara, I can't. But then at the same time, it's like, should I just part of me wanted to hang on to them. And I'm like, nope, because I don't ever want to fit into them again. I don't care. I'll let them serve somebody else, let somebody else enjoy them. And I let them go.
Yeah. And how did that feel? Just to be like, love you, bye-bye.
It's really, really good. It really is. It's very, you get a lot of satisfaction out of it. And, even your husband doesn't complain if you need to go shopping. He's like, you need to get that. You need to get that. You really like that. I'm like, no, I don't need it yet. He's like, no, you buy it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Because you have been buying clothes along the way, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
And why has that been helpful?
Well, because you have to reward yourself along the way. You have, like a little celebration. Oh, here's another size. Oh, this fits. Or, but because we all have to, we all have to enjoy some of our successes, right? So like, and part of that is buying a new wardrobe along the way and enjoying it along the way, not just, oh, I'm going to buy all of this new stuff when I get to the end. Yeah. I mean, and I didn't go overboard. Like Dara's like, I don't want to see these baggy sweatshirts anymore.
Like, I'm sure there's people in your town. I know, Cheryl. I keep telling Cheryl, like, come on. Like, we need to just like go and donate. Like, and it's almost like how I'm going to do a webinar coming up of losing 10 pounds in one day. And that literally is 10 pounds of stash.
Oh, okay.
Like, the fun was just to have bought it. And if you've had it in your cupboard for like 5 years, bye-bye. Thank you. That was fun. Right?
Yeah.
So anyways, I have a whole thing on that. Next question is, is the urge to eat the wrong stuff as strong as it was before?
No, because you learn that you are better than, the chocolate chip cookie. Like, your body deserves good things. And I truly believe that I want to live as long as possible because I want to stitch all the things that I want to do. I have way too many things that I want to make, do, see, whatever, and that cookie's not worth it. So, will I enjoy a little something? Yes, but the urges, they are there, but you're not like hungry all the time. So I think part of the whole thing is know when you need to eat, because a lot of times it's really different for me here now because we're at the gift show here in Atlanta and we really only eat once a day because I don't eat till after 12, but it's getting to be like 3 o'clock before we eat and I'm not even hungry. I'm not even hungry because we're so busy. We're doing all of our things, but you don't ever feel that starvation or that, when I was eating, constantly anytime I wanted to,
Right.
you really always felt hungry. Like you had to have something or you weren't going to make it.
Right.
Oh my God, it's been, we didn't eat lunch yet and it's 1 o'clock and after you just had breakfast at 9.
Right.
So the money that you save on food and all that other stuff, that I've really well afforded my new wardrobe.
Yeah. And paid for me. So another part of it too is the hunger scale. We actually start learning to understand, like, am I really hungry? What's really going on? All of that, right?
I actually like feeling hungry now.
Yeah, well, the ghrelins kicking in, right?
Yes, because you feel your body, like, it's kind of gross, but consuming itself.
Dining in, I love it.
Yeah, living off your fat. You actually can, like, in your mind think, oh my gosh, I am eating my fat right now instead of, yeah. So it really is a good feeling. It's like a happy feeling.
Yeah, it's awesome. Okay, is your husband following the plan with you?
No, not at all, girls. My husband is the worst junk food addict, soda drinking. He does know that he should, and he's like, I should be doing this and I should be doing that, but I think he thinks he's not going to live long, so he is enjoying every minute of every.
Yeah. And he hasn't had one coaching session with me. I think if we had one together, I mean, that would be like a game changer, right?
So can he like sit in and he take my spot one day?
Totally. I had a client last week, and so I was, was talking to her about working with me one-on-one, and we had a follow-up, and her husband sat in, and I was like, hello. It was awesome. I felt like I was in a parent-teacher interview. It was
Really a good idea.
Well, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, because one of the issues that happens for a lot of ladies, a lot of us, is we will have other people, when other people are eating, we feel like we need to too.
No. You get really good, like, because I have the little boys, my little grandsons. Every other weekend they're staying at our house, and I make them anything they want, like, Mickey Mouse chocolate chip pancakes and anything they want. I bake cookies for my job site guys. I don't eat any of it. It's really easy because you're not starving, you're not hungry. And that's just, I know that might sound like bizarre, but you really are not hungry. So you really know you have to eat because you haven't pretty much eaten all day. And I know that sounds weird right now, but it's a whole different feeling. And then you can do it because you know that it hasn't, you know the results you're going to get if you would eat that. Have I tasted a cookie and spit it out? Yes. Okay, I have, just because I want to know if it's a good cookie, and I want to, but
Yeah.
I didn't, I did that just to see what it tasted like, because I was like testing a cookie recipe.
But if you wanted to plan ahead, this is what
Yes.
the coach would say. If you're, and I think we did coach about this. I'm like, if you're going to make the cookies, that's fine. And that's great. So you have a couple of options. The joy is that you made the cookies. So that's like me making pancakes for my kids. I never eat the pancakes, but I have joy of making it for them.
Right.
Being the kind of mom. But if you decide I'm going to make these cookies, then you just plan ahead, and then you decide I'm just going to have either half a cookie or a whole cookie, and then it's not a big deal.
No, it's not.
It's not a big deal. So that's good. Another question. Okay, this is an off-topic one, but when's your next block of the month? And then going along with that, how do you get so much done?
Well, I think I get so much done because I've learned to plan, and I learned to schedule things. That's part of that business side of Dara and her coaching.
Yeah, and actually with my one-on-one clients right now, we're doing the deep dive into planning, which has been kind of a game changer, especially with the ladies who are retired, and it's still applicable. Anyways, keep going.
Well, because you don't really realize how much time you waste in a day.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do plan those things, all of a sudden you have all this time because you planned it, you got those things done, now they're done. You don't spend a bunch of time spinning on the wheel thinking, okay, what should I do now? Or I should be doing this, or you're doing three things at once and really nothing's getting done. So you learn to really plan, and you get things done. And I am a finisher. So like I could never stop finishing putting a binding on a quilt if I had three sides done. No, that's not what happens. I finish. So and then as far as just I love what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So when you love what you do, it doesn't feel like work, and it doesn't feel like, like there's many a times that I get called down, like, are you coming down yet? Are you, you know what I mean? Like it's just, I love what I do. So I get it done. But block of the month, when's my next block of the month coming out? We are going to have, I think we're going to start a new one, kind of like Moon Garden was, free pattern. And then of course we'll have kits for it, but I'm thinking March for that. But I have a lot of deadlines, and I'm trying to be really good about sticking to the deadlines that I have. And if I planned all these things, it will all happen. So we have the Stitch Along coming up at the end of the month, probably early February, as soon as American Gatherings comes out. So it is super fun. I can't wait for you to see those blocks there. They've turned out awesome. Like everybody I showed it to, quilters or non-quilters, they just love that. So look for that. We're going to do a Stitch Along with the 101 mini celebrations. And then what's funny is this year with the summer block of the week, it's going to be hard because we'll be moving at the same time. So I think I'm going to try to put those in earlier. So I'm in the planning stages of a bunch of things that we can do to for blocks of the month and stuff like that. All right, and we have the new wool box starting with some new ongoing projects in there as well. So if you're not in that, there will be some openings in January. So look for that. Okay.
So I want to know how the construction is going.
Oh, it's so amazing when I go there. It seems like they get a lot done. There are a few things, like the masonry guys held up a little bit, but they got the wall up now, and it's look on my blog post under the build, and that's where I'll put pictures. I don't always like post because I got yelled at that this wasn't about quilting when I was posting about building. So I get a little defensive when I get yelled at. I get a little I don't know. So I just get a little stubborn and but then I'll start posting again and I don't care. It's like, don't read the dumb thing if you don't want to know.
Yeah. One time a lady said to me, you should not chew gum when you're doing Instagram stories. And I was like, well, you don't have to watch my Instagram story. You don't want to. Just saying.
Right.
All right. Well, those are all the questions I had. Are there any other questions that anyone else has for?
Yes, don't be afraid to ask. We're all good.
She's an open book, I tell you.
Yeah. It's kind of scary sometimes.
It's all good. And we have the client privilege confidentiality, so that's even better, right?
Yeah. I haven't heard all my secrets out there yet, so nobody has said, "Oh, so she must be
nope,
doing good." Yeah,
that's the word.
Yeah.
Okay, so good.
Right.
Do you have lots more energy? Oh yeah, go ahead. You can answer that one.
Oh yes, lots of energy. I've had a lot of energy always. But I feel even more now because I think like my body's running better. It's not being bogged down by, like, I don't have that stuffed feeling like when after you eat. Like actually we just went out to a nice steakhouse. I had steak. And I could like literally like cut that steak with my fork. It was so good. I didn't even need my knife. And I had the wedge salad and broccoli. And that was a lot to eat, right? But remember, I haven't eaten all day. And when I came home, I mean, like I could eat, like I took my vitamins and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have some peanuts a little because I kind of eat in a window. I had some peanut, like I wasn't stuffed. Like usually before I'd be so stuffed that I'd be like, oh, I just want to take a nap. But I'm good. How frequently do I plan a joy eat? Look, I just popped that on.
I know you're so smart.
Yeah. I probably joy eat twice a week.
What's your favorite?
Ice cream.
I know. I was gonna.
Ice cream. Yes.
Wow. So good.
Yep.
Yeah. So thank you so much. If there's any other questions, so I have 10 more minutes. So I was just gonna share my screen with people and people can ask questions. But what I wanted to share with people is I have some questions for you, and then I'm just going to talk briefly about what's coming up in the Dara Tomasson world. So because I only have 20 spots for my one-on-one clients, and I have 2 on the waiting list, I needed to have another way to share the message for people of how to love yourself thin. And so I have developed this program, and it's a 12-week program. So some of you on here are already in it, and some of you have already paid, which is super fun. So this is me. This is from my book, by the way. This is what I used to look like. This was wasn't even at my top. And then this is me here. And this was actually like a few months ago. So super fun. It was very surprising when I looked at those. So my 3 principles are love yourself thin. Love yourself thin is weight loss science is simple. Emotions are the key to the universe. Create a future you whom you love being. So it's super fun to watch as Lisa's creating her future self and as all my clients are. It's really fun to create that. So we talked about why diets don't work. I like to say, what is food's job description? It's not to make you feel better when you're sad. It's to give you minerals and nutrients, to give you energy. So this is our brain. And remember, so Lisa talked a lot about this, like we do a lot of this work when we work together. It's like our higher brain is the CEO and our lower brain is like the toddler and who wants, like, I want it. And so when she talked about planning ahead, it's like when she's planning ahead, it's from her prefrontal cortex. And so then, but when she has to follow through, it's usually the worker or the toddler that's like, I don't want to do that. But you're like, oh, but remember, you made the plan. So that's why joy eats are so effective, is because you say, all right, this is my time to eat it. So then you don't feel guilty or any of that. So this is the same also with planning, because there's times where you're like, I don't really want to finish that binding, or I don't want to finish whatever, but it's like, no, you made the plan and we're going to do it. So we really work on marrying the two and understanding like the benefits of both brains. So we definitely work on the connection between our brain and our body. And we talk a lot about mindset. And one of the things, even with the time management, is learning how to capitalize on the best part of our brain. And we do a lot of that goodness. So this is my program. So basically, I have 4 weeks of weight loss science is simple, 4 weeks of emotions are the key to the universe, and 4 weeks of creating the future you. So my current group, we just did goal setting, and we did this really fun thing where we wrote all the things that we want to do in our life, and it's kind of a new angle of how to create that for ourselves. So I won't go too much into all of it. Oh, there you are, Lisa. So these are just more details. And I have a sales page that you can go to and look more of that if you want. But just to give you a breakdown of the program is we've got, so the program starts January 25th at 11 o'clock on Mondays. So I release every module the week before. I have a virtual assistant now. It's a game changer. And so I teach you, and you have these beautiful worksheets that were professionally designed, and we do that over Zoom. So that is $2,000. And then we have all these really fun bonuses, because on Wednesdays we have a coaching call. So you can get coached and you can watch other people getting coached, and it's super fun, especially when you're watching other people being coached, because you're not like it's a little bit nerve-wracking, right? When you have to like feel all the feelings. So that's a value of $3,000. And then you belong to this really wonderful private Facebook group. And these women are so lovely and supportive. And so then you have access to me. So you don't have to feel alone, because one of the main problems with weight loss is you feel a lot of shame. And so we don't need to feel shame anymore. You're surrounded by a group of women, and they're all quilters. It's so fabulous. All my clients are quilters. I had a call from a lady. She's like, would you coach me? I'm not a quilter. And I'm like, I coach quilters. It was awesome. I'm like, you can learn to quilt. They will teach you. They're all really lovely ladies.
They'll teach you.
Yeah. So that is a value of $3,000. And then I have my other bonus is that after you work with me, I have every fourth Monday, I'm pretty sure it's the fourth Monday of every month, we have an ongoing coaching call. So it's like a group, and people can put their hand up. So that's a value of $4,000. And then for every person who signs up, I'm making a mini quilt. So I made a big quilt, and it's actually on my long arm right now, and I'm quilting it. But so I'm making a really fun mini with Dresdens, because I'm obsessed with Dresdens. And so for everyone who signs on, I'm going to add to the Dresdens. And then at the end, I'm going to quilt it. And then you get a draw. And then someone gets the fun mini quilt. Because who can't be a quilter and do a launch without making a quilt, right? So I didn't put a price value on that, but that's super fun. So you pay $2,000, and then you get those 3 bonuses plus the chance to win a mini quilt by me. So it's a total of $12,000 for an investment of $2,000. So so imagine what your life would be like when you have those results. So that is what I'm offering, and that is going to be starting January 25th. So are there any questions about the program, or any more questions that you had? You're like, oh, I want to ask Lisa, or I want to ask Dara. Oh, how do you determine the money value to assign these? Basically, I kind of think about like what my pricing is for my individual coaching, and then I can value, and then in the industry.
So, and one of the things that I want to point out is, because when I first signed up with Dara, I thought, this is kind of expensive, you know what I mean? But I thought, well, because I'm investing in this program, in myself, one, I'm worth it. I'm worth that. And 2, if it didn't have a decent amount of value or investment, or, like it didn't hurt so much coming out of my bank account, I don't think I would give it as much value in my life. Like, it would be easy to say, oh, I don't kind of like that $10 gym membership thing that here. It's like, oh, join the gym for $10 a month, because they know you're not going to come. Right. But if they put a bigger value on it, people will come. And, I always believe that you get what you pay for too. So,
yeah. Well, and also part of that is you have to invest in yourself in vulnerability. And when you have that kind of buy-in, that's going to help you to, because the more you put into the group, the more you're going to get out of it.
Right.
And I think a lot of the ladies on there.
Both in participation and from your bank account.
Totally.
Yeah.
So good. All right. Any other questions? So one of the questions I have for you, which I love asking my ladies, is if you knew that you could make the change in your life and really have that change, what would you do with your life? Because I love this question. Do you believe that you're living the life that you're meant to live right now? That's such a good question. And if you're not, what's keeping you from living the life that you really do want to have? So that's a really good. Another one is, so if you knew, if we had like a time machine, and this is what's so fun because Lisa and I, like, she has gone in the time machine. Like, look at her now, right? Because I think I actually asked you this question when we first met. I'm like, if we had a time machine and we like went to the future and we saw you like 50 pounds lighter and you knew that you had been successful and you didn't have to worry about your weight anymore, what would your future self tell you at this time?
Right.
That's a pretty good question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I'll ask you this question, Lisa. What have you created now in your life that you didn't think that you could have created had you not gone through this journey?
I think the fear of failure has like gone away, like diminished. Like I have no fear. Like I was kind of a daredevil before, but now I'm fearless. Meaning I just feel I can do anything that I want to do or that I think I can do.
Yeah.
So like I'm spending thousands of dollars right here in Atlanta thinking I'm going to make my new primitive gathering store super awesome. I have no doubt that it's going to be cool. Like I think I can trust my taste in what I think my quilters will want and buy, not just for their sewing, but for their homes and for, you know, for everything that they do. And I just have no fear because I feel confident. I feel successful. I feel that I'm bringing a service to my people. I'm just not selling you things.
Right.
I'm not just just trying to make money. I want to connect with my people. I'm one of them. I could be that woman in your sewing group because I've been in sewing groups. I have, and I want to not lose that feeling. So I try to treat my people how I would want to be treated. I try to give them things that I would want. And I just try to be very aware of everything, of serving the people that support me. And
Right.
how can I do that? And I actually feel like the more I give away, the more it comes back to me. It's kind of a really cool thing because you think, oh well, you don't want to, like, people would be like, why do you do some of those things, or my, like, other shop owners will say, well, how do you think of these things? Because I said I'd be cool to open up my book and find $100 gift card in there just randomly because I purchased a book. Now, so I put a lot of thought into everything I do and I don't stop thinking about it, so I'm constantly trying to be the best I can.
Right. So, because one of the things that happens is when you are in love and service of your people, you're constantly like, that's abundance, right? There's a difference between, I talked about this actually on this past week in our goal making. It's like the difference between abundance and scarcity. If you
Right.
never think there's enough, you're never going to have enough. But if there's like more and more, like love is always growing.
Right.
And so when you are in love of your clients, you're always going to have that. And the same thing for me, right? I'm always thinking of new things. Like my one-on-one people, we have a group. So I was like, I want to do a group. So I do fun, cool, extra for them. And the other part of this, and kind of going along with Lisa saying, is one of the things that I teach is this having done energy. So when Lisa says I'm fearless, it's like, because she knows that the worst thing that could happen is a negative emotion, and emotions are literally just vibrations in our body. It's like, it's done. I can feel a negative emotion, bring it.
Right. Yeah.
And because Lisa is also so connected to her future her, like I remember so specifically that coaching session when we went from like we did like 5 faces of you. It was so fun. We did models of each version of you. But at the very end, it was like unstoppable.
Yeah.
And she has just been like that ever since. So this is how we clean it all out, you guys, because our fear, all those negative emotions, they hold us back. Mm-hmm. And when we can learn to, that's why I say emotions are the key to the universe.
Right. And one of the things that I discovered with Dara is like, I had a baby at 17. Lance was born when I was 17, the day my senior year of school started. I went back to school in October. I still graduated. I worked hard my whole life, but I discovered that I've been trying to make up for that disappointment that I thought I caused everybody by letting them down, by that happening to me. I just learned that I'm still trying to make up for that after all these years. And I realized that I don't have to do that anymore. By the successes that I've had, I'm done paying for that, even though, I mean, it wasn't a bad thing. I mean, I would do it again if I had to, probably, but, make the choice of having him. But you just uncover some things that you never knew existed in your life, really. Like, I didn't really know that that's really why I was doing it, right. Or why I worked so hard, or why I worked so much.
Yeah. There's like a suitcase that you locked and you didn't ever want to deal with it. Right. And so when we finally opened it, we were like, okay, bring this up. And you realize, like you said, oh my gosh, I've been punching myself in the face and been on this treadmill to try to get approval from other people, right, or try to make up for something that
be the best I can be.
Yeah, you weren't even conscious of it.
Right.
So that's another part of what. So life coaching, it's kind of this. I actually used to make fun of life coaches. Because it's on Castle. Remember, did anyone watch Castle? And his mom was a life coach and she was Martha. I made fun of life coaches. I didn't get what a life coach was. But what a life coach is they actually, you learn to think about your thinking. And the most important relationship you have is with yourself. So why wouldn't you spend time with yourself to figure it all out? Right. And so it's like Lisa and I, or my client and I, we sit on the couch and we look at, like, what are the thoughts that you're having and are they serving you? So today I actually coached 8 people in a row. And I can tell you, the very last girl I coached, she got just as much as the first. And it's really ironic because both of them are on this call, which is super fun. Because I am like fire, right? It's just like, let's do it. Let's go. Let's bring it. And because we really got to see like politics right now. Holy Dinah. Let's clean all that out. Our self-worth, let's clean all that out. Like all the things, let's clean it up. And let's get really conscious of what's going on. And then you can create the life you want. And just like Lisa said, she's got this having done energy. And so she can go to Atlanta and she can spend thousands and thousands of dollars because she's like, no, I'm serving my people. I got this. Right?
Yep.
See, I get a little fired up. Nothing wrong with that. Right? Right, Nancy? By the way, Nancy and I are going to fly together to Wisconsin when we have our retreat at your place. It's going to be so fun. I made the deal with her today. I'm like, we can just fly together because we go to the same airport to fly.
Oh, okay. That will work.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. I want to honor everyone's time. It's 6:06. We went a little over. Any last questions? Oh, I know.
How many people do you have on here?
Pardon?
How many people were on?
I think we have 18. Yeah, you can come awesome. Too, of course. It's just that Nancy and I go to the same airport. We're both Canadian, so we can go. And any other Canadians you want to fly with us, you can totally do that. We can have a caravan. Just go. All right, ladies, I love you all. I'm so proud of you for taking time for yourself, prioritizing yourself, and giving yourself this opportunity to learn and grow. If you want to talk to me about coming in on my program, I have 20-minute consults that I'm offering this week, and I would love you to join me. I really want to piece my cool, so that's so awesome. All right, everyone, take care. And I have more free trainings this week. If you have any questions, please direct message me. Lisa, you're the best. Thank you. Bye-bye.